Shoot!
So people hate the Wii U and I really don't get why. Like, it's a very common sentiment on the internet to call the Wii U a bad console, but like I've never seen anyone actually back that statement up. I mean, I might be the biased one here because I literally grew up with the console, but honestly, I don't see a lot of things that are wrong with the Wii U. In fact, I absolutely love the Wii U, like a lot. I love that console a lot. It's genuinely one of my favorite consoles like ever, and whenever I see someone talk bad about it online, it kind of feels like that one meme of the girl shouting and the guy getting stabbed with knives. I feel like people blindly hate the console and they focus more on the problems that it has while just completely avoiding all the good things that came from it. Honestly, I'm kind of just sick of all the hate for, in my eyes, an undeserving console. So I'm going to talk about it because this is my channel and I can talk about what I want. Sorry, that was kind of rude. To get a better understanding of the console, and also because I want an excuse to do research so I can bring up new things randomly in conversations with my friends, let's start a brief history of the Wii U itself. The Wii U was Nintendo's 7th home console and was released for the 8th console generation alongside the PS4 and the Xbox One. Wait, and the Switch? What? It was released on November 18th, 2012 in North America, November 30th of that same year in Europe, and surprisingly, December 8th of that same year in Japan. During the development of the console, it was given the codename Project Cafe, and I don't know why. That's really all I gotta say about that. Back in 2008, when the Wii was still out and booming, there were rumors of a Wii HD that was supposed to be released in the coming years. Nothing really came of those rumors other than Nintendo's president Satoru Iwata supposedly saying that he didn't see a reason for the Wii to have an HD version and it would just be better for its successor. Okay, so fast forward to early April of 2011, an anonymous source from the World Wide Web said that Nintendo planned to reveal their top secret Project Cafe at that year's E3. Man, I miss E3. Most of the discussion around the console were about the controller and they were honestly dangerously accurate to what we actually got. Later on in that same month, on the 25th of April, Nintendo released an official statement confirming the console's release in the following year and also announcing that they would have a playable prototype of the console at that year's E3. Wow, who would have guessed that? After the reveal of the Wii U, Nintendo stocks like instantly fell almost 10% because like analysts didn't really believe in the innovation of the console compared to its predecessor. Also, apparently on October 28th of that year, they announced that the Wii U would be cross-platform with the 3DS. Like, okay. On September 13th, 2012, Nintendo revealed the release date of the console, and on November 18th of that same year, the Wii U was officially released to the public, and by the public, I mean North America. The release was cool. Reggie was there and stuff. That's all I really got to say about that. The console launched with a good handful of games on release, though a grand total of 3 of them were good, so take that as you will. The console itself was maintained pretty well and updated pretty frequently by Nintendo, but unfortunately, due to its pretty bad marketing, it became one of Nintendo's worst selling consoles ever, selling only 13 million units. Around 5 or so years later, in January of 2017, the Wii U was discontinued and production of the console was completely stopped in order to make way for the next Nintendo home console, which just so happens to be the 3rd best selling console of all time, but that's besides the point. The online servers were still running and players were still able to play games online for around 7 years until April 8th, 2024, when Nintendo shut down the online servers for both the Wii U and the 3DS for good. Luckily though, modders worked pretty quickly to get online back on those consoles with a service called Pretendo. Okay, thanks for visiting Wii U History Class. I don't know how to transition from this part. The Wii U in general was just like a cool console to me. Like, the Wii U felt cozy and warm whenever you turned it on. The console itself had a lot of cool little apps and ideas that weren't really commonplace at the time, like Wii U Chat, which was just like an app that lets you FaceTime your friends with the Wii U gamepad in all its like 140p glory. There's just so much charm to the Wii U, from the menus to the icons to the eShop that had music and a UI that changed over time, or even the Mii Maker that had 2 different versions of the same song playing simultaneously on both the TV and the gamepad. You can't really see it anymore without Pretendo, but when the Wii U was still being supported online, you could see a bunch of people's Miis and their Miiverse posts about specific games and stuff on the menu screen. That feature was really cool too, and it created a little sense of community for games, even without you having to go into Miiverse itself. Also, I just learned that the place in the Wii U menu is called Wara Wara Plaza, and I never knew that. I kind of feel a little dumb. The online functionality with stuff like Miiverse in general was just really awesome to me. Actually, now that I'm on the topic, I'm just going to talk about Miiverse because it was really cool. Okay, so for those who don't know what Miiverse was a social media platform that Nintendo specifically created for the Wii U and the 3DS. It released day 1 with the Wii U and on December 9th of 2013 for the 3DS. It let players post text, drawings, and screenshots pertaining to certain games or apps on their respective consoles. It was basically like Twitter, but if it was made for the Wii U and the 3DS. and if it was good. You even have profiles just like Twitter, where people could see all your posts and where they could follow you or add you. Also, I think there was a DM feature too, but I'm not entirely sure, so like don't get mad at me if I'm wrong. Like I mentioned before, Miiverse worked on a per game basis. Just about every game on the Wii U and the 3DS had a Miiverse community that you were able to post things on. There were literally countless communities, even for stuff like YouTube. As much as Miiverse was a pretty lighthearted thing for the most part, there were a few unhinged posts on there that have gone pretty viral on the internet. Miiverse was great and was something that literally everyone enjoyed, but unfortunately our joy wouldn't last forever. Because on August 29th, 2017, Nintendo revealed that they would be discontinuing the Miiverse service later that same year. Obviously, people weren't very happy about that, and Nintendo made it very clear that Miiverse was not going to be a thing on the Switch either. People were making their goodbye Miiverse posts and having their last hurrahs on the platform before it got shut down. But alas, on November 7th, 2017, Miiverse was shut down for good, never to be seen again. Until January 11th, 2018, when a mod called Arverse brought back Miiverse for the 3DS specifically, and also Pretendo brought back Miiverse for both the Wii U and 3DS again. Honestly, I think Pretendo's a really cool project, and if you're interested in just playing your Wii U or 3DS online again, or even if you're just interested in modding those consoles in general, you should definitely look into it. About modding. Before April of 2024, I would have said that it's just perfectly fine to have an unmodded Wii U. As much as there were still benefits to modding it, the console was still mostly usable at the time. But now that Nintendo's completely stopped the online services for the Wii U, it's kind of necessary to mod your Wii U in order to actually get use out of it. There's a lot of different things you can do with mods, but even if you just want to use it to get Pretendo, you still get infinitely more value out of your console. On a vanilla Wii U, you can't really do anything on the console other than playing single player games and maybe using the web browser if you're a freak like that. Modding the Wii U opens you up to a whole new world of possibilities. It's a pretty great console for modding because of its backwards compatibility with the Wii and stuff, and it's capable of running a bunch of older games and emulators. But again, if you're interested in Wii U modding, you should definitely look into it somewhere on YouTube and see if you think it's right for you. Now that I talked about some of the good things that the Wii U brought to the table, I want to talk about some of the complaints that people have about the Wii U. Starting with,
first of all, your Jordans are completely fake.
A common complaint about the Wii U is that it has no games. Are we serious? Like genuinely, are we dead ass? That might be the worst complaint about the Wii U that I've ever seen. To give that argument the benefit of the doubt, I personally believe that the Wii U has the weakest roster of games out of every Nintendo home console like ever, but that doesn't mean that it has no games and that it's a failure of a console because of it. You know what? If that's a failed console, I don't know what you call the Xbox One. The Wii U actually had a pretty solid roster of good games that people refuse to talk about. Splatoon, Smash 4, Mario 3D World, Wonderful 101, Bayonetta 2, Captain Toad, Breath of the Wild. Why are you lying to me? It's only a handful of games too. There are a lot of Wii U games that people love and praise to this day, but apparently the Wii U has no games. Okay, buddy, sure. Like, you don't have to like every game on the Wii U, but to say that it has no games is just like a blatant lie.
Second, you razor chin, you have absolutely no maidens.
This is a more opinionated take, so I can't really say that anyone is objectively wrong for not liking the gamepad. I personally enjoy the gamepad, and I think it's a pretty okay controller. Like, it's not terrible, but it's not the best, I guess, you know? But I do have a bone to pick with some of the people who say that, because do you remember the N64? Great console, right? Amazing games and everything. But look at that controller. That may be the worst controller I've ever seen in my life. Okay, it's not as bad as this, but it's still pretty bad. You don't see anyone calling the N64 a bad console just because of the controller, so why would it make sense to do that for the Wii U?
And finally, you, my friend, haven't even thought about buying Spotify Premium. Want to break from the...
To me, the hardware point is a bit of a silly complaint too, because like, okay. I mean, the whole point of the Wii U was just to be the sequel to the Wii. It literally has a built-in Wii mode that lets you play Wii games on the console. You can't really get more Wii 2 than that. Like, I don't know. The entire existence of the gamepad is enough to warrant it being a new console. The integration that I had with the console and its games was extremely unique and is something that we have never seen done to that level at that point in time. To say that the hardware itself isn't good when you can literally play video games on the gamepad is crazy to me. Yeah, it wasn't the most powerful console, but Nintendo never intends to make the most powerful consoles. They always intend to make the most unique consoles, and that statement still holds true with the Switch. But there's one argument in terms of hardware that I not only wholeheartedly agree with, but I solidly agree with. The storage space on the Wii U is terrible, dude. I have a deluxe set Wii U, right? The Mario and Luigi one, to be exact. So I have about 32 gigabytes of space, which isn't a lot at all. I can literally download Xenoblade Chronicles X and maybe one other game, which sucks and is already pretty stupid. But I guess that's alright, because you know, it's the most storage intensive game on the Wii U. But you know what isn't alright? The fact that the base version of the Wii U has 8 gigabytes of space. Dude, you can barely get Mario with that. Not to mention the fact that when the Wii U launched, the system itself took up 5 gigabytes on its own. own and only left players with 3. I genuinely wasn't joking about the barely enough to get Mario thing. There really isn't any excuse for such a terribly low amount of storage space. With games getting larger in size and scale during that time, they should have taken that into account and given players more than 3 gigabytes to play entire video games with. And you don't even have a proper slot for external storage or anything. All you have is like 2 USB drives and an SD card, so thanks Nintendo.
Shut up, you stupid bitch! Hi-ya!
The last point I want to touch on is Nintendo marketing the Wii U badly. I actually agree with this point, as much as I'm supposed to be defending the console. Nintendo never really made it clear what the Wii U was supposed to do or be, other than like, hey guys, here's this controller and it has a screen. Wow, that's crazy guys, that's crazy. Like I said before, that's probably the main factor as to why the console didn't sell all too well. While that is true, that doesn't make the console bad. Nintendo's poor explanation of the Wii U's capabilities doesn't make it a bad console. All it means is that Nintendo was pretty incompetent in how they handled the marketing of the Wii U. Those two things are very different, and attributing the bad marketing to the console itself being bad is a very dishonest take. I don't think the Wii U is a console that everyone should like, because I don't really think there's a console that will ever be made that everyone likes. I even have my own personal issues with the Wii U too, again, like the storage being atrocious, but I think that the console itself is still pretty good, and I think that there should be more respect for it, even though it was a commercial failure. A lot of people like to act like the console itself was bad just because they have their own personal issues with it. Personally, disliking it is okay, but preference isn't objectivity. I love the Wii U for all the things that it did right and all the joy that it brought me as a kid, and it still occasionally brings me now. The Switch is better though.
Like and subscribe.